Welcome back to another episode of PokeFang Unpacked, where we unpack the latest news, updates, leaks, and rumors in the Pokemon TCG collecting hobby. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of these secret rares in the latest Japanese Pokemon Scarlet and Violet expansion, Paradise Dragona, which should be making up at least half of the English set Surging Sparks, which is set to be released on November 8th, 2024. Now this set has some absolutely incredible artworks and some really great chase cards, and we're going to get into the details of it right now. One of the first cards I want to talk to you guys about is this Lisia's Appeal secret rare. This is just like an ultra rare full art that we would get in the English set, but in Japanese this is a secret rare, so this can be like a big chase card that you would get once per booster box. This one is from N Morikura, and it's absolutely stunning. There's actually two Lisias in this set, and it's a really big deal. I'm going to get into why that is in just a few minutes, but this one to me already looks fantastic. I love how there's all these lights shining in the background. It's a lot more to this than just a standard full art. And just in case you don't know who Lisia is, maybe you're new to the hobby, something I like to do here on the channel is to put together a supporter bio card. So right here we have Lisia. This is the character down here in the bottom right. You can see what she looks like. She's from Generation 6, which is the X and Y era. Lisia is a non-player character, an NPC in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. She's sort of like an idol slash celebrity type. And if you know about the Scarlet and Violet era, then you probably know who Iono is. Lisia is pretty much Iono coded without being a gym leader herself. So last time we saw Lisia actually get printed in the TCG was in Sun and Moon's Celestial Storm expansion. And right now that card raw on TCG Player is going for about $285.83. There's wildly different prices on Card Market and eBay right now, apparently. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Maybe there's just more volume of sales in different card conditions. Maybe some of them are light play, medium play, but I do know that that is approximately the market price, somewhere between, it looks like $200 and $300 around there. This card in a PSA 10 is currently $589.74. If that was in the Scarlet and Violet era, this would be one of the biggest chase cards that we have seen so far. It's kind of along the lines of what the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade is doing right now, but this isn't even the craziest version of this Lisia right now. Charisma of the Cracked Sky, also known as Sky Splitting Charisma. Lisia, this is the exact same card, so this is just a Japanese version of it from a different set, and that card is roughly $1,000, if not more, raw. And a copy of this card sold in a BGC 10 black label, that's Beckett grading, on August 22nd, 2024 for $7,600. That is absolutely insane. This is just a full art supporter, so it would just be considered a secret rare in the Japanese set, which is exactly what this one is right here. This Lisia's Appeal that's in Paradise Dragona. It's just a secret rare, but we're also getting a special illustration rare of Lisia's Appeal, which is what makes those prices for the last Lisia very, very interesting. So here is the new special art rare of the Lisia's Appeal. And this artwork also looks fantastic, and I love that it also features the Altaria, which is Lisia's partner Pokemon in the actual game. And this is a big deal for two reasons. So in addition to the potential for this character to be the major chase in the set, we also have the illustrators here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names because when I did, it just sounded wildly offensive. But these artists right here, this is a joint artist project, I guess, putting this artwork together. So I guess these two work together. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but they're dual credited on this card as the illustrators for this Lisia's Appeal special art rare. And the reason that that's kind of a big deal is because these two artists also worked on the very, very popular Bang Dream Girls Band Party. This is something that I actually found out about after the fact. I've never heard of this before. I'm not huge into like the deep cuts of anime, but the artwork itself does look absolutely fantastic. It has one of those sort of almost freeze frame moments there with the character in action shots. I want to sort of take this to a vote with you guys down in the comments. Which of these two cards do you think is a better artwork and a better chase card if you're a big fan of this Pokemon trainer? Because both of the artworks look fantastic. They're two entirely different takes, but also very similar. So one of them shows more of the trainer, the other one shows more of the trainer's maybe personality and partner Pokemon as well. I want to know what you guys think. Also place your bets as to which one of these is going to be the higher value chase card. The next supporter secret rare that we got in the set is actually Drayton, who is a member of the Blueberry Academy League Elite Four. If you played the Scarlet and Violet games, and you already know that. If you did not get to the expansion for Indigo Disc, then you may not know who this character is, which is why I included that little bio there. So this is a Gen 9 character, brand new from Scarlet and Violet era. if you did not know that. The artwork here on the left is from Ghidorah. This is our secret rare. And when we get it in English, this will be considered an ultra rare. And I actually like this character in the game. It's probably one of the hardest gym battles, I think, in the entire Scarlet and Violet game, and DLCs included. For whatever reason, I just really struggled with him, even though his character and his personality and everything else is actually very likable, which is why it's actually kind of cool that we're also going to be getting a special art rare of Drayton, which will be a special illustration rare in English. It looks like he's sort of shopping for some snacks. I'm not as stoked for this artwork for whatever reason. Something about it is just not as exciting to me as some of the other cards in this set. For some reason in this artwork and this angle just ends up making Drayton's forehead look way bigger than it's actually supposed to look based on all of the other illustrations that I've seen of this character. Just a weird observation that I think is kind of funny, but you know, obviously the artwork is really great. I like anytime it looks like a candid photo, which this one absolutely does. But again, nothing really mind-blowing, just sort of a day in the life candid shot of Drayton. I don't know, maybe you're a Drayton fan and you would love this artwork. Let me know down in the comments. And then we have a bit of a throwback supporter here. We have Dragona from Generation 6, otherwise known as the X and Y era. She's one of the kindest of the Elite Four members, is what she's sort of known for, and she specializes in dragon Pokemon, which makes sense with the theme of Paradise Dragona. I mean, the artwork is artworking. I don't really have anything like crazy notable to say about it. It's sort of doing the job of being a full art supporter card. And Dragona, unfortunately, does not get a special art rare or special illustration rare in this set. And the final secret rare supporter that we're getting in the set is going to be Surfer. Similar to Lisia, is also an NPC non-player character. We see characters like this every once in a while get a full art supporter card. We've seen, you know, Dancer, Worker. I do think it's very cool that they're actually including a Surfer, being that the set is coming out basically right around when Worlds is in Honolulu this year. I think it's really cool to sort of have that representation, a little bit of that culture in there. Now let's take a look at some of the Pokemon chase cards that are in this set. Starting with the Latias EX Special Art Rare. I cannot remember if I included this in a previous episode or not. It was one of the first cards to get revealed for Paradise Dragona. The illustrator is Okacheke, who's an absolute icon, always makes great artworks. And the thing that makes this one really special is the fact that it actually pairs up with the art rare of Latios in the set. And they actually go side by side like this to create like a giant mural that spans across the two cards, which looks absolutely fantastic. It's a shame we don't get them both in one card, but this is almost kind of even better because now we're looking at potentially having two chase cards for this set, like we have been with some of the other sets like Twilight Masquerade. We have the special illustration rare Greninja. That's a huge chase card. And then a secondary art rare chase card with the Eevee. And we've been seeing that with a few of the sets. The only downside here is that the Latios is number 70 in the set and the Latias is number 87 in the set. So they wouldn't be next to each other in the binder, which is kind of a bummer. I guess you could do whatever you want with your own binders. If you want to put these two cards next to each other, you absolutely can. But I do think that because of these cards going together, it is going to be more of an incentive to have both of them. I know I will be, and that'll be a major driving factor for me to get both of these cards in my master set for sure. So in addition to having the Lisia artwork in this set possibly being a major chase, we also have the Latios and Latias, which last time we had Latios and Latias together was in Team Up, Sun and Moon Team Up, as an alternate art, which right now, raw, this card that you see on the screen right now, this Latias and Latios GX tag team card from Team Up, is currently selling at about $850 raw. And the PSA 10 value of this card is $2,395 at the time of recording this. That is absolutely insane. So again, this could end up also being a really big deal when this eventually comes out in Surging Sparks in November. More special art rares around the corner here. We have the Archaludon EX special art rare by Shinya Mizuno. And to be honest with you guys, I think this looks fantastic right here. I love how the colors pop. I love how simple the shapes are. I love the expression that Archaludon has. The only thing I don't quite understand is the background, right? The background itself is actually kind of plain. If you think about it, there's like some speed lines there, some rocks, and some electricity. This to me looks a little bit more like a standard secret rare as opposed to what would be considered a special art rare. Maybe that's just me, but you guys let me know down in the comments. Like I said, it does look fantastic. The colors, the contrast, the illustration itself looks great. I'm just not entirely sure I understand the concept behind this being a special illustration rare. And then we have the Alolan Executor EX Special Art Rares is also one of the first cards to get revealed from this set. We did look at it in a previous episode, so you guys can go back and listen to me yap about it, how I feel about it in that other video if you want to. This is from Yuriko Akase. Goated artist and goated artwork. It looks absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to hit even harder in person when you actually see it and all those colors are shining and popping with all that texture. Anytime you have a really detailed card like that, it does hit different when it's in your hand. And because the Alolan Exeggutor EX is actually a stellar Terra type in the set, it has those rainbow edges all around the card, which look absolutely fantastic in person. Quick recap of all of these special art rares that are in here. We have the Latias EX, the Archaludon EX, Alolan Exeggutor EX, the Drayton, and the Lisia's Appeal special art rares that we're going to be getting in Surging Sparks in November. All right, on to the art rares for Paradise Dragona. Now we have the Execute starting off from Yuriko Akase, also who illustrated the Alolan Exeggutor EX special art rare in the set. We did talk about this one in a previous episode, so we're just going to skim past it a little bit here. We also have the Shiinotic art rare, which I think might have been one of the first ones to get revealed by Matazo. Also, I did share some thoughts and some of their other artworks in a previous episode, so feel free to go back and check out previous episodes of Unpacked if you are new to the series. But this next one we haven't talked about yet, and I am honestly super excited about it, and that is the Sunny Form cast form. And before you run away and you judge me for even caring about a cast form, I think this artwork is absolutely incredible. I actually checked out some of Narano's other artwork because this one just absolutely stood out to me as one of the better artworks in this set, and I was absolutely blown away when I came across their personal website where they had all of their work, their entire portfolio, but the artwork style is absolutely incredible. Looking at this artwork on the screen right here, which is just, I think, one of their other works, I could see massive potential for having some of the best art rares in the TCG if we are lucky enough to get more artworks from this artist. Highly encourage you to go to the website. I included the URL right here at the top. I'll try to remember to put it down in the description as well. Feel free to skim through there and be absolutely blown away. I think this is actually their first time doing artwork for the Pokemon TCG, and I am an instant fan of this artist for sure, and I'll be looking for more cards from them in the future. And up next, we have the Bruxish, but this one is from Mitsuhiro Arita, which if you're in the Pokemon TCG, then you obviously know that name. It needs no introduction. This one looks fantastic. It's a great artwork. It's a little bit simple for my taste. I wish there was one or two like cameo Pokemon there in the background somewhere. It doesn't help that I'm also not the biggest Bruxish fan. Up next, we have Satitan from Jerky, who we've talked about a few times here on the channel. Not the biggest fan of Jerky's work. All right, cringe. But I have to say, this is probably my favorite of all of the artworks that they have done for the Pokemon TCG so far. They have a very simplistic style, very geometric shapes. Everything's sort of solids, two-dimensional paper cutouts or something like that. This one actually has sort of like a denim looking texture over the artwork. I'm not entirely sure what that is or how that's achieved. I'm assuming it's some sort of digital illustration tool. I love that there's like just bonus Whalmers down there at the bottom, just about to get crushed by Titan, who looks like it's about to do like the craziest cannonball dive. And of course, we have our Latios art rare, which we did mention already is also from Okacheke. It's going to pair up with that Latios artwork to make a nice big mural. And like I said, we did mention this one earlier, so I'm just going to skim past it a little bit. Toriufu illustrated this one right here, just dropped this one in our lap. Probably one of my favorites in the entire set right here. This Vibrava art rare looks fantastic. The artwork and the attention to detail is incredible. It almost looks like it's CG at first until you really look at it. It's got that nice shallow depth of field, and it has that photography look to it that I really enjoyed with Temporal Forces and I think Twilight Masquerade when they were playing off of the Perrin side quest, where they had some of the artworks of some of the Pokemon look like they were actually like photographs being taken by a photographer. And this sort of has that style, and it even has like the blown out highlights in the background that you would get in that nice shallow depth of field where just some of the branches and leaves that are on the same plane of focus as the Vibrava are actually sharp. It's gonna sound crazy, but Pokemon Snap for N64 when I was a kid is a huge inspiration for why I got into photography later on. So seeing things that remind me of Pokemon Snap and photography in general in the TCG always lights me up. Speaking of things that make me happy, this Clobopus art rare from, I don't even know how you pronounce this, USG Men. Let me know in the comments if you guys know how that name is pronounced, but this is absolutely hilarious to me. I love how simple and sort of silly it is. I can almost imagine the sounds of Clobbopus hitting all of these little coconuts and nuts. And all these other moments here are almost like memories or highlights of its day. Like that's all it ever thinks about is just clobbering things. And I just think that's so funny. Now the artwork itself isn't probably isn't my favorite, but if it looks familiar to you, it's because this is actually the same artist that did the Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates, the special illustration rare. So a big chase card in that set. I think the market value on the thing is like $100 right now. Moving on now to something a little bit more photorealistic. It's still not entirely photorealistic. If you look at those clouds in the background, it still has like a bit of an expressionistic style to it, but then up close in the foreground, everything's extremely detailed, and I'll still never understand how artists are able to create metals and chromes with all those reflections. It's not something I've ever been able to understand as an artist myself. In case I didn't mention it, this is the Skarmory art rare by Takumi Wada, and it looks fantastic. I would love to see maybe one more Skarmory up in the sky, just sort of glimmering as the sun hits it or something like that. There just seems to be a lot of neutral space in the upper right quadrant of the card that doesn't necessarily do anything in terms of what neutral space is usually supposed to do, which is draw your attention to something. But other than that, I think it's an absolutely fantastic looking card. The Skarmory looks great. And now back to more of a hand-drawn style with this Flapple art rare. Very much looks like it was done with crayons. I'm assuming this is still a digital artwork. It looks a lot like some of the stuff that I've done in Procreate with some of the crayon and colored pencil sort of style brushes. This is from Uninori. I love the coloring of this artwork. It's very simple. I think maybe 3 or 4 color palettes, maybe 5 if you include the blue skies. They're barely even there. You got like greens, yellows, reds, and browns for the most part making up this artwork. But there's just so much opportunity to include like an Easter egg Pokemon or something like that. It's just a second Pokemon somewhere else in this artwork. I think it would have been a lot more fun. Oh man, and then we have this Appleton art rare by Minaminami Take. This one is probably one of my favorites in the set also. I keep saying that there's some really great artworks in this set, but this is one of my favorites. It's absolutely adorable, and for the longest time, I did not understand why Appleton was a big deal. I was just like, I don't really understand it. It's just not a Pokemon for me until I actually found out the size of it. I thought it was gigantic. I didn't realize that it's actually really small, and once you actually put it in the context of something really small, it actually makes it adorable. So for me, this is one of my favorite artworks. Beautiful colors, beautiful composition, and beautiful moments with the Appleton smelling the apple right there. There's even an out of focus foreground element right here, which absolutely does it for me, because even though this is more of an painterly style, you're still able to bring in things like that just make it feel a little bit more candid, a little bit more organic. Then we have this very expressionist style Braviary art rare by Gapao. I don't know how to say that name. Gapao, maybe. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about this one because some of the screenshots that I saw are very low resolution, but now that I have a higher res version of it, I do actually like it quite a bit. A little bit of psychedelic vibes to it, a little bit of like Van Gogh, if you will. In that regard, it does work really well for me. I'm just not the biggest Braviary fan to begin with, but I actually have pulled this card already from Paradise Dragona, and in person, it does look really incredible. So same goes for a lot of the artworks in the set that maybe don't look like they're, you know, the hottest thing in the world when they're a screenshot on a computer, but when they're actually in your hand, could actually just become one of your favorite cards. But hey, if it works, it works, and it definitely stands out among the rest of them. And that's actually the last of the art rares that are in this set, aside from the Magneton that we're getting as the ETB promo for Surging Sparks. This has already been released in English for Surging Sparks as an ETB promo. Usually those are pulled from a Japanese set, and we actually have not seen this card get announced in any Japanese sets just yet. So it's weird that we're actually seeing this card in English before we've seen it in any sets in Japanese. If I had to guess, I would say that this is going to be in Supercharged Breaker. It's going to be Paradise Dragona and Supercharged Breaker that are going to be making up Surging Sparks. As far as the standard double rare EXs in this set, we are getting a Black Kyurem EX, which is absolutely incredible. I think it's a huge missed opportunity that we didn't get a special illustration rare of that Pokemon. I think it would have been a huge chase card for a lot of people. We're also getting the Latias EX, the Flygon EX, Archaludon EX, Alolan Executor EX, and the Cyclizar EX. Those with the stellar Terra typing have that rainbow background, so that being the Flygon, the Alolan Executor, and the Cyclizar. And typically, if we get an EX in a set, we're also going to see that in a full art version, or in Japanese, would be just a secret rare version. So here they are. So here's the secret rare version of the Black Kyurem EX, which looks fantastic. The Latias and the Archaludon also look fantastic, but I have to say the ones that steal the show for me the most are going to be the stellar Terra types of the Flygon, the Alolan Executor, and the Cyclizar. I've seen these things in person, and I think they look absolutely incredible. It is a little bit strange that the outer rainbow edge on them does not bleed out from the artwork. It just sort of stops at that rainbow edge, and then that rainbow edge itself doesn't have any foiling. It's very strange. It looks really good in person. It's just a very weird decision. And then finally, we're only getting 3 gold cards in Paradise Dragona, and those are going to be the Alolan Executor EX, the Counter Gain, which I don't entirely know what that means, and the Rich Energy there on the right. These are ultra rares in Japanese, and they will be considered hyper rares when we get them in English. Now let's take a look at the release forecast for all of the sets coming out between now and Q1 of 2025, starting with obviously Stellar Crown and Paradise Dragona came out both on September 13th. Those are out already at the time of recording this. Up next is going to be Supercharged Breaker, which we're already starting to see some cards from. That's going to be the Stellar Terra type Pikachu set. We're going to be doing a separate video series on that one, so stick around if you want to see what's going to be in that set. These two, again, are going to be the cards that make up Surging Sparks, possibly with some additions from other things. Supercharged Breaker is coming out on October 18th. As of recording this, that is just a few weeks away, and just a few weeks after that, we will be getting Pokemon TCG Pocket, which is a new digital-only Pokemon collecting and battling game. It's not like Pokemon Live. We're going to go into detail on this one with all the cards that are exclusive to it and how the game works, etc., in a separate series here on Unpacked. November 8th, as mentioned, is when we're going to be getting Surging Sparks. Then some of the more exciting stuff is happening towards the end of the year and the beginning of next year with Terastal Festival, which should be the Terra type Evolutions set. The special set for the year is what they do in Japan, and hopefully that will translate to something that we get here in English. We don't know just yet. This would be considered a special high-class set in Japan, similar to Shiny Star V, V-Star Universe, VMAX Climax, or more recently, Shiny Treasures EX. That is on December 6th, if I didn't mention it already. On January 24th, 4 days after my birthday, we are getting Battle Partners, and this is when things start to really change in the TCG early next year, because this is when we're going to start to see some Pokemon with their Battle Partners. In the early days of Pokemon, in the WotC era, as we call it, we had Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, 2 sets that included owners' Pokemon. So it's the first time we've ever seen it, and we haven't really seen it much ever since. So here I have some examples of what that would look like. Instead of getting a Gengar card, you get a Sabrina's Gengar card featuring the gym leader Sabrina down in the bottom right. Same thing goes for Misty's Gyarados. You can see Misty down here in the bottom corner, and that's similar to what we're going to be getting out of the upcoming set Battle Partners and possibly some of the other sets that come out after it. I think Battle Partners will most likely be an introduction to this new gimmick, and we'll probably see that carry out through the Glory of Team Rocket and some of the other sets that are coming out. I believe it was at the closing ceremony of Pokemon Worlds in Honolulu this year. They showed us a trailer that included these cards right here, the Lily's Clefairy EX, which does include a Lily right here. Instead of being at the bottom right corner, we actually get them in the bottom right corner of the artwork window. Very curious how they're going to actually make this work for special illustration rares and things like that, if they're actually going to include the picture or if they're just going to feature them in the artwork and then keep the name. That's what I would guess that they would do. That trailer also showed us N's Zoroark EX. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Where you can see N is down here. We get the Zoroark. Then we have a regular rare over here with N's Reshiram. Another great artwork right here. And we can see N down there in the corner. But one thing that actually didn't even occur to me until I looked at this card specifically, because the EXs, they're very noisy. You almost don't notice it. But there's actually no set IDs or anything like that down in the bottom to sort of give away what set that this could be from, if these are from the same sets or not. Maybe that's not even determined yet on their end. It seems like Pokemon's been teasing stuff earlier and earlier, even to the point where they have cards that aren't even ready yet. And one of the big potential chase cards that they sort of teased at the end of the trailer video that they had at Worlds is the N's Reshiram. I believe it's an art rare. Let's take a look here. Is it an art rare? I don't even know if this is an art rare or a special art rare just yet. We're seeing these cards all in English at the end of Worlds before we're seeing them in Japanese, which is kind of insane. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to be a regular art rare, if this is going to be a special art rare. I also suspect that this could actually be an ETB promo for whatever set the Black Bolt and White Flare Japanese sets come together to make in English. That would be my guess as to why they would be showing us this artwork so early in advance. I would have to assume that it's going to end up being an ETB promo and doesn't actually spoil anything from the actual set itself. But time will tell. We don't know just yet. There is so much more exciting news to talk about that is coming down the pipeline, but I think we have to call it for the day because this video is getting very, very long. The 3 shops that you see on the screen right now, I don't actually have an affiliate code for or anything like that. These are just the places that I trust to buy my personal products from. Sometimes it's really hard to find trusted sources, so I want to share with you guys where I get my stuff and what has been trusted for me over the last 3 years of opening Pokemon products, and that have been XP Collect for all things English that I open, and for Japanese, I typically go with PokeNE.com or CaliPokehouse.com. And make sure to check out these businesses on TikTok because TikTok has additional deals that they offer on top of the already great prices that you'll get from these shops. If you feel like the hours that I put into making this presentation were worth it for you and you at least found some value in it, please go ahead and smash that like button. It goes a long way in serving the algorithm, and subscribe with notifications on if you want to get future updates on the upcoming sets here in the Pokemon TCG. I hope that helps, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, happy haunting, Fang Gang. Peace.